Hey everybody, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Ready to Die Fighting. I'm Chris, and doing something a little bit different today. Um, I've gotten started in the garden, although I don't think I've made any videos about it just yet for this year. But this year I did a bit more planning, and so this is the rough, I don't know, idea for how the garden's going to look this year. And this year I've expanded to include the front yard as part of our garden. The front yard we completely neglected last year. Just did bare minimum maintenance, which is honestly what I typically do in the front yard. I usually put very, very little effort, and I just try to keep it clean and presentable. But this year, I want to make a garden that's for the pollinators. That's going to look really nice and kind of improve our curb appeal just a little bit, but also make a little haven for the birds and the butterflies and squirrels and all that, and for a couple reasons. One, I'm hoping that they will help fertilize, not fertilize, pollinate all our veggies in the back, but also I figure if I feed the birds and squirrels in the front, maybe they'll leave the garden in the back alone. Plus, I think it's just kind of nice. I want to share the garden with them. And so some of the stuff we've already done, and a lot of it we haven't. But let me just kind of walk through this a little bit. Now, believe I've told you guys in other videos that my real job when I work is that I'm a graphic designer, UX designer, do web design, videos, pretty much anything involving computers and art and, that sort of thing. And so I used Adobe Illustrator to create this drawing. I'm aware that Adobe Illustrator it's a very expensive, very powerful software, and if you don't already have it, I do not recommend buying it to do something like this. It's overkill. There's free software out there, or less expensive and easier to use software out there that you could do if you wanted to do something like this. However, I already have it, already know how to use it, and so I was able to make this pretty quickly. Now this is all to scale, and what I basically did is I just hopped onto Google Maps and got a satellite view. This is my house, and this is a little bit old, and I basically just kind of traced these shapes to get the layout of what my property is going to be, or what it's not what it's going to be, what it is, and get it to scale. And then from there I was able to basically draw in everything as needed. So here's our various garden beds that we made last year. I've got one new one here that wasn't there last year, and we were thinking about adding a quail pen. I don't know if it's too late or not, but I don't really know where to get quail, but that was the idea, to get a quail pen. We are rotating the crops around. So last year we had tomatoes here, had corn and squash and beans here, cucumbers here. And so I'm rotating all this stuff around, and that's really why I made this, trying to remember all the different companion plantings and what was where and where we need to move it to. So it did take a little while for me to figure that out, and that was the main reason why I did this, to kind of sort through that. These are the treetop canopies of the various large shrubs and stuff, our little pond. This is the garage, as I would love for it to come down. I didn't fill in this area because I haven't figured out how I want to do it. This is kind of what we use as our, as our little patio barbecue area. We get a little kiddie pool that we put right about there, keep the canoe there, which I don't love that space for the canoe, but at the same time, I don't really know where else to put it, so that's where it's staying for now. The big change, though, not a whole lot here, is that I'm going to take this little wooden fence out. It did not do the... It did work to try to keep Erie away from this area, but I think I'm going to just take that down and make an herb garden here instead. And we added a couple of blueberry bushes in the mix as well. Big change in the front, though, is making this pollinator garden. So this dotted line, this is the stuff that I would like to add. And some of this has already happened. So I got a cherry tree that I've planted here. It's not this big by any stretch. It's small. But it's planted. I really wanted to get a cherry tree last year. I was unable to get it, but I got it this year. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I wanted to fence this off for a few different reasons. One is that we have a lot of kids and dogs and things like that that just kind of run free in the neighborhood and occasionally cause some trouble. And I wanted to keep them out of this yard. We also have people, I don't know why, but it seems like everyone's trash ends up in my yard. And I wanted to stop that. And especially with me having a lot of seedlings and things like that, you know, my little plants growing, I wanted to keep them safe. So I got some inexpensive fencing and goes around the entire perimeter. For right now, there's no way to get into the house from the front without climbing the fence. So I will have to make a gate. But we don't have it just yet. I trimmed these shrub bushes down. These are yew bushes, I believe. And they were just way too big. So I trimmed them both down significantly to make some room to put more pollinators here. You know, trying to keep the squirrels happy, the bees happy, the butterflies happy. And we've put up a lot of bird feeders. And it's been really fun because we have been getting a lot of birds and we're learning about the birds that are in the area and starting to recognize their different calls and what they look like. And it's been fun. So we've been feeding them various things and enjoying learning about them. So I don't think I'm going to do any kind of tutorial on how to create this. I mean, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely leave a comment and I can do a walkthrough explaining it. But I don't really plan on doing that right now. I don't really feel like it's necessary, but I can if the interest is there. But I kind of wanted to just walk through and show you how I planned our garden this year and what I've been doing. And in the next video, I'll go outside and we'll kind of compare what this looks like on paper and see what it looks like now, where we're at, and how far it's coming and how far it's going to go, I guess. And then I got to get to work because it's finally warmed up. I think we're in the clear, no more frost, and so it's time for me to start putting some seeds down. I especially want to get those cucumbers started. Ooh, the cucumbers were so good last year. Definitely want to get them on the ground. I'm going to wait a little bit on the tomatoes and peppers just to make sure because I know they like it warmer for sure. But it's time to start getting some seeds in the ground, getting some herbs down. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.